What's up, everybody? I'm Kristin Gutierrez, the host for Say Yes and Figure It Out. And I'm so excited to be joined today by Andrew Lawless. I have known you, I feel like, for 20 years, yet,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. That's how long I was in translation. So I feel like I don't know you that well. So, Andrew, tell us who you are, and then I can't wait to dive in.
so yeah. By the way, yes, we've known each other for a long time, and it's one of those industries where everybody knows everybody, and now here we are. Both managed to leave the industry, right? So which is huge. Only a few people can do that, and I think that's what we talk about here as well. But I am the founder of the High Performance Consultant Academy, and I help boutique consultants, like those solo consultants and owners of small boutique consultant firms to grow and scale their businesses.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love talking with other people like you. So, this is all about like the say yes. Like, when is the moment in your life, or what story did you want to share today that was your say yes moment? And then you had to just figure it all out.
Yeah, but the say yes moment, how to figure it out, is usually forced upon us, right? So we either lose the job or the pandemic, right? Or, and it's something else happens in life, major change that now forces you to make it. And I think Bob Marley once said, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is is your only option." And that's the yes moment, right? So for me, that was in 2009 when the 8-9 when we went through the global financial crisis, and nobody was hiring. There were no jobs. Nobody was hiring consultants. I had no clients, nothing. My then girlfriend and now love of my life, then love of my life, but now wife, said, "Yeah, I'm going to move from Ireland to Washington D.C." And I'm like, okay, so shouldn't one of us have a job? But we figured it out together, and then grew from the business from zero to seven figures, and basically because we were with our backs against the wall. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, I love it. So, does your wife run the business with you?
No, not anymore. Because at the time we were in the localization field, right? And so I pivoted during the pandemic, another a forcible yes moment, yeah, where so I help consultants to grow and scale their business, and so that's not really up your alley, right? So yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So like me, you kind of have two different lives so far, right? So your first, so in '09 or whenever you moved to DC, did you move to DC at the
I
time?
was already in DC, but
Oh,
I was with the World Bank and left the World Bank, and they hired me back as a consultant right away. And then I was sitting in I remember that very vividly. I was sitting in Mozambique, and at the time, the only way to communicate with the US was through like the World Bank's own communication satellite, and the only like messenger on internet was the Yahoo Messenger, right? So. And I was trying to draw my business in the US, and I figured it's just not
yeah.
happening, right? With Yahoo Messenger at the time. And so I said, "Yeah, I need to work outside of the US more." So I quit that assignment with the World Bank. And then,
Mhm.
of course, a few months later, the global financial crisis breaks out and it forced upon me. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was
Oh.
good that it happened.
So what were you doing as a consultant so that people know? Like, what were you originally, or for the first half of your life as an entrepreneur, what were you consulting after World Bank?
So I have like when I left the World Bank, I was the head of translation interpretation for the World Bank, and I left them because I wanted to respond to a report called Voices of the Poor. And the World Bank interviewed 60,000 of the poorest people in the world and asked them, "What is it that you want from the World Bank?" And the poor very clearly responded and said, "We don't want your charity. Now we do need some money and loans and protection and so on, and we do want to pay that back. But by and large, we want to take our like matters in our own hands." and that required for them to have access to the World Bank's analytical work, but also as an extension to that, be enabled and empowered to do their own translations, rather than that having been done by very highly paid translators in Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
So when there was an opportunity to build these capacities in country, said, I'm going to do it. But it was clear it was a temporary work, and said, okay, great, but that's so dear to my heart. I'm going to do it. I become a consultant and implement those operations in countries where you never go to usually, right? Cameroon, Mozambique, Jamaica, Argentina, Russia, Egypt, China. So yeah, and that was like they flew me along first class, right? So
Oh
cool.
my gosh, they don't do that anymore.
Well, they bumped us up. I saw that because the World Bank at the time was the largest buyer of tickets. So whenever there was space in the next class, it would bump us up. And but I was outside the country for 90% of my time. That wasn't good for my family. I got divorced also, right? So at the time, my oldest son, I never saw him really, and that's not sustainable, right? So yeah,
Okay. All right.
Mozambique.
Wow.
Mozambique was the catalyst.
There always is, like you said before we started, there always is. And so now, what do you do? Tell us more about what you said yes to in the pandemic as you pivoted
Well,
to.
two things happen, right? So one is in my entire career as a consultant, I built, no, actually my entire life even before the World Bank, I built businesses to $1 million and then it crashed. $1 million and it crashed. $1 million and it crashed, right? So the last time that almost happened, my wife says, maybe you would like to see Thai, right? So Thai Hunter, by the way, ThaiHunter.com, best, in my view, one of the best hypnotic therapists in the world. Um, so I call her and she's like, yeah, I'm going to help you, right? So, and what turned out, it was like, when I was at the $1 million level, I didn't think I was worth it. I think I deserved the success, right? And then I would find something to self-sabotage. So when my wife said, go to another woman to get help, I knew I was in trouble. And so I did, and so that came out, and then that was all around the same time, and then a pandemic broke out, and and a lot of work. So I, at the time, had a lot of assignments on site.
Mhm.
Couldn't fly out of Ireland anymore because as
Yeah.
I in Ireland, yeah. And anyway, so I gathered all of my friends, all of my colleagues, or like past clients, existing clients, hopefully future clients. I said, you know what, the world has changed. I knew because I was at one point in my life also a consultant to the FBI's behavioral science unit, so I understand crowd control. And I knew that when they said it's like 6 weeks, it's going to be lockdown for 6 weeks, it ain't going to be 6 weeks, right? So said, yeah, we need to prepare for now the next 2 years. And so I'm going into parent modes, right? And I will help you get through it without at no cost, right? But we all had to learn how to use Zoom,
Oh,
how to interview. Like here now, when I look into the camera, I look you into the eyes, right? So
yeah.
I had to figure that out, right? So how to manage groups, breakout rooms, all of that. And yeah, and that was the nucleus for the academy. I did get almost everybody over that line, until we came out of lockdown. And some cases, people actually doubled or tripled their revenue during the pandemic
Yeah.
because of what I did with them, and they're still in my program. And so eventually it became a paid service, and now it's an academy with all the training and like a support structure to get you know, to do what I wasn't able to do back then over the $1 million hump.
Oh, so good. And so how do you help them? I heard about the academy. There's obviously courses. Is it a year long? Is it six? What is the duration in which somebody joins you that you help them?
Well, there are different ways of engaging depending on where people are. But usually people, they struggle with three things, right? So either they have feast and famine cycles, right? Because they have the few clients and the clients leave when they when they deliver, they don't sell. And, when a client leaves, now you have the dip. So number one is feast and famine. Number two is plateauing, because they charge by the hour and you can only work so many hours a day without collapsing. And the third one is they're totally overworked, right? So because they work so many hours, the lifestyle that they really wanted, they don't really have. So, and it usually, so I'm helping with all three, but it usually starts with how do I get more revenue in order to finance that growth, right? So bootstrapping. So the first step is to get more clients on LinkedIn. The second step is to systematize and operationalize your business. And the third one, last one, is to remove yourself from the business, right? So that, and I'm so glad I just came back from 3 weeks in Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
3 weeks, I did not have to do anything. And, now I look at my calendar and everything worked better without me, right? So what we need to learn as business owners is that we are more in the way than helpful.
Yes. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. What's a favorite book of yours that you've read right now, that you're reading right now, or you've read recently?
So on the business side, it's The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh, so So the idea is, if you want to, so Mike Michalowicz, by the way, if you can buy the book and get the audiobook, because he narrates it himself, and usually
Love
that's a
that.
recipe for catastrophe. But he is so funny and he tells additional stories. And so the idea, did you know that in the US, when those farmers they grow those giant pumpkins that are as big as a house? Did you know that the seeds of every single winning pumpkin comes from the same guy?
No, no. I mean,
Yes.
I have no idea about pumpkins.
Did you know that there was this business selling pumpkin seeds?
No,
There you
not
go. All right. So,
specifically.
so now you're telling me, like, you need to, and then have all my clients, like, when they start out, resisting to niche down, right? So pumpkin seeds, $1 million business.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
anyway,
worth
so
the
that's,
price of admission.
and then there's some more analogies to, like, building a pumpkin and so on. But if you want to grow your business, you need to have the right seed and the right soil. You need to take care of your right pumpkin. You need to prune out the ones that are not growing. Does everybody here have clients that they hate? Yes, they need to go, right? Um, and
Never.
all right, and then there's that profit first is part of that. So Pumpkin Plan is definitely the book business.
Okay. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I'm going to add it to my Audible as soon as we hang up.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you would thank me
I,
for it.
what's that?
You would thank me for it. And I
Well,
actually, because I like it so much, I decided to become a pumpkin plan certified strategist, which I am. And so I'm using part of Mike. So Mike and I, we used to be in the same mastermind, and he presented a few times, and he's doing a lot of things that I'm doing just for other people, not for consultants. And some of his stuff is better. So, I, instead of stealing it, I'm not, in my business is built on trust and honesty. Uh,
course.
I'll just get certified and that just like into my academy. So that's what I'm doing. Well,
Oh, I love that. Let me ask you about masterminds, because
yes,
I feel like there's us, you and me apparently, that love them, right? And I invest heavily in myself and others to help get me to the next place I want to go. And then depending if you're working with entrepreneurs who have kind of been around for a minute or not, or maybe they had a few bad experiences like we all have, right?
yes.
Then it kind of stops them. So what is your perspective of masterminds? How long have you been doing them? How many mentors do you have at any given time? What's your strategy?
So I learned this from Brandon Bouchard, that no one strides alone and makes it to the top,
Mm,
right? So when you look at everybody who's insanely successful, they all had mentors, they had coaches,
yes.
and I think Taki Moore, one of my mentors or coaches at the time, he said to me, Andrew, ordinary people invest uh, invest time to save money.
Mm.
right? So, you sell your hours against money, and then, right? So, but successful people, they invest money to save time.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and you and I are in the business. People hire us because they want results faster
Mhm.
or better than they could get by themselves, by like alone. And these are the people that are successful. Also with Mastermind, I will never forget. There was a time when I don't know, something happened in the economy, and I was telling myself that story that I'm not successful because I don't know, everybody's on vacation right now, right? And then so I met with my we call it squad. We meet every evening, right? So very quick meeting, just what are you working on? Where are you struggling? What kind of help do you need? Right. So sometimes just 5 minutes meeting. And during that meeting, I'm like, economy is so bad and nothing is happening. And they're like, we all tripled our revenue this month. What's wrong with you? And so what I learned is there are three types of accountability. There's self-accountability, um, coach accountability, and peer accountability. And peer accountability is so much stronger than the first two together. And
Oh,
so that's the beauty of masterminds. Yes.
oh, I love it. That's so good. Yes, I agree. People pay for speed and that it took us X number of hours and dollars and all the things to get where we are. And so therefore people coming behind us, right? How can we help them do the same in a fraction of the time? But at the same point, I also know about like the concept of a third mind that gets created when a mastermind comes together. But I love this concept of the three forms of accountability and peer-to-peer accountability. Tuesdays is my day of like call masterminds basically. So I was in two today, and the mentors aren't even there, right?
Yeah.
It's just the peers, and there was about 20 some people there. And I was having some weird thoughts as I was sitting there, not like in a bad way, just like, oh, she's always
Yeah.
contributing and she's always lending a hand, and so and so and so and so. And I think that that's because then we all socialize on the interwebs, and then we all have each other's phone numbers, and like we're really rooting each other on and like lifting each other up and like helping each other.
And it's so interesting that you should say that, because in my groups, like in my academy, those groups that when we do trainings or coaching sessions, we have those breakout sessions. And in the beginning, I thought, I need to talk more. I need to, I need to give them value. And then I put them into meeting sessions for like 15 minutes, and then they came back and they rebelled. They said, Andrew, you need to give us more time, right?
Yeah.
So that be, uh, piece of belonging and getting feedback, and those peers have no financial interest. They
Yeah,
just
no,
want you to
yeah.
succeed, right? They just want you to succeed. And you surround yourself with the right people, you will get better results. That's just what it is.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, any other closing thoughts? Where can we find you? I'll put your links below the show,
Yeah,
but
easiest way is teamlawless.com. Right? So you're going to teamlawless.com. And
yes.
when you get there, there is by the way, if you're a business coach or consultant, there is a button and you can click it, and it will take you 2 minutes, and you will know exactly where you are currently not in your sweet spot and what you need to fix in order to be in that sweet spot where you have your top clients, an irresistible offer, and a
Mhm.
systemization that you can remove yourself from the business and enjoy life. So it takes 2 minutes to get an immediate feedback, and teamlawless.com, first option you find to click.
Yeah.
That's
Click here to take your free. I almost wrote my second book on the sweet spot, but a different type of sweet spot. So anyway,
Tell
I'm
me
just
about it.
leave it at, well, I was still in corporate, so I was going to climb the corporate ladder and like your
Yes.
C-suite. I was going to do like C-suite. But all right, I will link actually.com/sweet spot quiz. I'll just link that.
Yeah,
Take them
cool.
right to the quiz.
I
That's
appreciate you.
amazing. Well, we'll have to geek out sometime on irresistible offers and leaning back and like just having more fun, right? Like, why not make millions of dollars and have fun doing it?
You and I need to talk more and just compare notes, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you.
Super. Appreciate you. Bye.